Here's a short section from Frank Zappa's I'm a Beautiful Guy. And it's the chord of the week.
Keith Horn's chord of the week.
Frank Zappa's I'm a Beautiful Guy from his 1981 release, You Are What You Is a tour de force of musicality. Clocking in at just under 2 minutes, this song is full of wild time changes, really funny lyrics, and of course, very interesting harmony, which is what I'm here to talk about.
Let's talk about it.
Especially for a so-called rock record, this uses really interesting and adventurous harmony. Here's a section I want to focus on. For this video, I'm tuned 5 cents flat just to get closer to the tuning of the recording.
Thanks for doing that.
And these are the 3 chords. A major over B flat, F sharp major over G, and C major over A flat. The first 2 chords are exactly the same, a minor third apart. The third chord is slightly different. And these chords are perfect examples of the idea of a triad over borrowed bass notes.
That sounds like a fantastic idea.
Technically, the first 2 chords are diminished major 7th chords. The first one is really, if you look at it this way, it's a B flat diminished major 7th. I like to think of it as the A major triad over its own flat 9. That's just easier for my brain. If it's easier for you to think of it as a diminished major 7, think of it that way. Knock yourself out. I like to think of it as this way. A major over B flat. I will say that this diminished major 7th chord is often used functionally to get between, for example, a 1 chord and a 2 chord. I'm in G major, and if I have a 1 major 7 and a 2 minor 7, I can use this as a passing chord. Right, the second chord is, you can see this E major with a flat 9. Or if I move this A flat up an octave to here, it gives us this F diminished major 7 as a passing chord to the 2, which would be A minor 7. But Zappa is using it here as a means to add tension to an otherwise triadic sound. Without these lower notes, you just have this. Just 3 unrelated triads. I mean, technically, he's using chords from octatonic harmony. I'll do another video on that later, but for now, let's just think of it as triads with borrowed bass.
Sounds good to me.
Using these tension notes as bass notes, it kind of adds to the overall jazziness of the song. And this song is a satire of the fitness-centric, beauty-obsessed American culture that started in the early 1980s. And Zappa made fun of everyone and everything. And he also had a preference and a gift for using entire genres of music as just another color in his palette. And this album, You Are What You Is, that is on display throughout the whole thing. And I highly recommend listening to this record from top to bottom. It is an amazing album. Now the first chord, this A major over its own flat 9, can be found throughout 20th century concert music, like this section from Stravinsky's The Rite of Spring. Right there is a B major with a flat 9 in the middle, the C. And the next beat, D major with an E flat, the flat 9 at the bottom. I have another video that focuses just on this one bar from The Rite of Spring because it's really rich. There's a lot going on in it, so you can check that out here. I've also used this chord in my own music. Here's a D major over E flat from my song Cootie Times.
They bring the food to the door.
And here's an example of the third chord, the C major over A flat, from Stephen Sondheim's Sunday in the Park with George.
You know, Franz, I believe that artist is drawing us.
Huh? Oh,
Monsieur's friend.
Monsieur would never think to...
Here it appears twice. First time as a B major triad over G, which is a flat 6. That's the second chord. In Zappa, it's C major over A flat. In Sondheim, it's B major, open voiced, over G. And then he repeats it in D a second later. D over B flat. Now, in true 1980s aerobics fashion, let's take the I'm a Beautiful Guy chords through some exercises.
Exercise.
First exercise is to take the first chord, A over B flat, authentically through the circle of fifths, like this. Next is to take the third chord through a different cycle. I'm going to put it through the descending diminished cycle, which is this, going down a fully diminished seventh from C, then a fourth lower from G, and a fourth lower from D. Gets us through the circle of all 12 keys without using fourths or fifths, using thirds only. Here it is again. And with triads, in voice leading, it would look like this. C, A, F sharp, E flat, G, E, D flat, B flat, D, B, A flat, F. Gets you through all 12 keys in an alternative fashion without having to use the circle of fifths.
Nice!
Now with the left hand, the flat six of each triad, let's try that. C over A flat, A over F, F sharp over D, E flat over B, G over E flat, E over C, D flat over A, B flat over G flat. Let's finish it up. D over B flat, B over G, A flat over E, and F over D flat. And the final exercise is to take the whole phrase through the plagal cycle, which is descending fourths. So we'll start with A, and I'm thinking of this as an A chord over B flat. So if we start here with A and go through the circle, the next one would be E, which is our top note of where we end up. So that's going to sound like this. From A, E, B, F sharp, D flat. Let's do one more from A flat. So those are a few chords from the nearly infinite catalog of the late great Frank Zappa. There is a lot more to his music than just Valley Girls and Yellow Snow. So thanks for watching, thanks for listening, and happy practicing.
Yeah. Who this? This beat. Yo, who this? Yo, who this? Who this?